What does the Bible say about gambling? Gambling is a hot topic for many Christians. People often wonder, what does the Bible say about gambling? While the Bible doesn't directly mention gambling, it provides plenty of wisdom. Let's dive into what the Bible teaches about this controversial issue. What does the Bible say about gambling? Biblical principles and teachings. The Bible doesn't say, "Thou shalt not gamble." But it does give us lots of principles to consider. One key verse is 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10, KJV, "For the love of money is the root of all evil." The Complete Jewish Bible, CJB, puts it this way: "For the love of money is a root of all the evils." This verse warns us about loving money too much. Gambling often stems from a desire to get rich quick, which can lead us away from God. Proverbs chapter 13 verse 11, KJV, says, "Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished." The CJB translates, "Wealth gotten by worthless means dwindles away." The Bible also teaches us to manage our resources wisely. Luke chapter 16 verse 10, KJV, states, "He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much." The CJB says, "Someone who is trustworthy in a small matter is also trustworthy in large ones." These teachings guide us to use our money wisely and avoid reckless behavior like gambling. The love of money, a root of all kinds of evil. Gambling often comes from a love of money. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 9-10, KJV, warns, "But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare." The CJB echoes, "Those whose goal is to be rich fall into temptation." These verses remind us that chasing wealth can lead to trouble. Many people who gamble end up addicted, ruining their lives and families. Proverbs chapter 28 verse 20, KJV, says, "A faithful man shall abound with blessings, but he that maketh haste to be rich shall not be innocent." The CJB translates, "A trustworthy person will receive many blessings, but one rushing to get rich will not go unpunished." This verse shows the dangers of trying to get rich quickly, a common motive behind gambling. Stewardship and responsibility, managing God's gifts wisely. The Bible tells us to be good stewards of what God gives us. Luke chapter 12 verse 42-43, KJV, says, "Who then is that faithful and wise steward?" The CJB puts it, "Who then is the faithful and sensible manager?" Being a good steward means using our resources wisely. Gambling often contradicts this by promoting recklessness. For example, spending your paycheck on lottery tickets instead of necessities is not wise stewardship. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 28, KJV, advises, "Let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor." The CJB says, "The thief must no longer steal but must instead work hard." This verse emphasizes honest work over risking money on gambling. What does the Bible say about gambling in the context of greed? Gambling is often linked with greed, which the Bible condemns. Hebrews chapter 13 verse 5, KJV, says, "Let your conversation be without covetousness." The CJB translates, "Keep your lives free from the love of money." These verses encourage contentment and warn against loving money too much. Someone who gambles often wants more and more, leading to a cycle of greed. Exodus chapter 20 verse 17, KJV, commands, "Thou shalt not covet." The CJB says, "Do not covet your neighbor's house." Covetousness is a root cause of gambling, where the desire for quick wealth overshadows ethical considerations. The ethical implications of gambling: exploitation and harm. Gambling can exploit the poor and cause harm. Proverbs chapter 14 verse 31, KJV, teaches, "He that oppresseth the poor reproacheth his maker." The CJB states, "He who oppresses the poor insults his maker." Gambling establishments often prey on those desperate for money, which is ethically troubling. Isaiah chapter 3 verse 14-15, KJV, condemns those who exploit the poor. "The Lord will enter into judgment with the ancients of his people." The CJB translates, "Adonai presents the indictment against the leaders." These verses highlight the injustice of exploiting the vulnerable, a common outcome of gambling. What does the Bible say about gambling and covetousness? Covetousness, or greed, drives many to gamble. The 10th commandment, Exodus chapter 20 verse 17, and Colossians chapter 3 verse 5 highlight that covetousness is sinful. Exodus chapter 20 verse 17, KJV, commands, "Thou shalt not covet." The CJB says, "Do not covet your neighbor's house." Colossians chapter 3 verse 5, KJV, advises, "Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth." The CJB translates, "Therefore, put to death the earthly parts of your nature." These verses show the sinful nature of greed, a driving force behind gambling. Work ethic and honesty, biblical views on earning money. The Bible promotes hard work and honesty. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 28, KJV, says, "Let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor." The CJB puts it, "The thief must no longer steal but must instead work hard." This verse emphasizes earning money honestly and helping others, contrasting with gambling. Proverbs chapter 13 verse 11, KJV, states, "Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished." The CJB translates, "Wealth gotten by worthless means dwindles away." The Bible values hard work over trying to get rich quickly. The spiritual dangers of gambling, addiction and idolatry. Gambling can lead to addiction. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 12, KJV, advises, "All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient." The CJB says, "You say, for me, everything is permitted?" Maybe, but not everything is helpful. Addiction can take the place of God, becoming a form of idolatry. This is why gambling can be so spiritually dangerous. Hebrews chapter 13 verse 5, KJV, warns, "Let your conversation be without covetousness." The CJB states, "Keep your lives free from the love of money." These verses remind us to keep our focus on God, not money or gambling. FAQ, what does the Bible say about gambling? What is the spiritual meaning of gambling? Gambling often involves greed and a love of money, which the Bible warns against. It can distract from faith and stewardship. Is gambling a sin for Catholics? Catholics view gambling as morally neutral if done responsibly. However, it becomes sinful when it leads to addiction or neglect. Why is gambling bad? Gambling can lead to addiction, financial ruin, and exploitation of the poor. It often stems from greed, which the Bible condemns. What does Luke chapter 12 verse 15 say? Luke chapter 12 verse 15, KJV, says, "Take heed and beware of covetousness." The CJB translates, "Be on guard against all forms of greed."